plenty about Yair Rodriguez. I mean,
wow.
to what extent are you buying in on Rodriguez now and as a future potential champion, if not top contender in the UFC?
Well, look, I think he's good. I'm not going to base anything on, what happened last night. I mean, I love BJ, and I got to tell you, man, BJ. I mean, there's a true heart of a lion, champion mentality. I mean, didn't want the fight stopped, and I mean, that guy's just a fighter. I mean, and it is really incredible. But he is an older guy, and I'm sure he's slowing down. So I don't want to put too much emphasis. But I think this kid Yair Rodriguez is looking really good, and he did some great things. And I don't know how much opposition he had in front of him, but he didn't let the legend of BJ Penn affect him, which I think is good. He went in there and did exactly what he had to do, and he did it in a dramatic fashion. So yeah, I think. What was his fight before that? Didn't he go like 5 rounds with Bruce Leroy?
He did, yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that he's still got a ways to go, but he's got the tools. There's no question about it. But I'm not gonna jump the gun because of the BJ fight, because I think BJ, come on, look at the layoff, look at the wars that guy's been through. He's got absolutely nothing to prove. I think he's an old school guy. He demonstrated he didn't even want the fight stopped. I mean, you have to love this guy. He's fought in 55 different weight divisions. He just doesn't care. He's a throwback, man, and those days are gone. He's the last of a dying breed, and he still had his wits about him, and he was getting a beating. So that's one tough motherfucker, man, for sure. So. Hats off to Yair Rodriguez. Again, he did what he had to do, and he did it in a fashion that was, he couldn't have did anything better. But let's bump him up and see what he's got. You know what I mean? Because I would have thought he was going to do the same thing to that other guy, the last guy, Bruce.
Alex Caceres.
I like that kid, Cat. Yeah, Alex Caceres. But so let's see. He looks like he's improving. He's getting his confidence. And that's a big name, but it was an older guy with a long layoff, so I want to keep that in perspective. But he looks like he's got the tools to – he's definitely not going anywhere anytime short. So let's bump up the competition, see what we got. But great performance by him, and kind of sad to see BJ because I really, really like the guy. He was always a straight shooter whenever I seen him, and just, again, that's a tough SOB, man, right there. That guy's, 38 years old?
He is.
No kid. But yeah, it was exciting.
Hey Ray, what do you say to BJ? Because was it a matter of taking the wrong fight in Yair Rodriguez, or do you have a conversation with him and say, why are you coming back? You don't need to come back. Do you convince him to not fight? What do you do in a situation like that? Because it really is a delicate thing. You have a Hall of Famer who wants to come back to fight. He obviously still has the heart, but maybe his body hasn't kept up. Maybe his evolution hasn't kept up with the sport. How do you address that as a coach?
I mean, you kind of address it the same way you just did it. Look, he's got to surround himself with people that actually give a shit about him. And I'm sure he has that too, but this is hard. I've been through it, talking to people that I didn't want fighting anymore. And, the conversation goes good, and then 6 months goes by, and the guy's asking you to fight again. These guys have fighting in their blood. They don't. The beauty of this thing is I don't even think they care about winning or losing. I mean, which is, right. I address that in a different thing. But BJ Penn loves to fight. There is absolutely no question about that. So we're looking at it a little different. But, again, he doesn't financially need the money. And I just think you really – I mean, he took some big shots, man. You don't know 5 years from today what that's going to mean.
Yeah.
And what's the point? We know the guy was great. He's got nothing to prove. That guy could lose, the next 3 or 4 fights. He's not going to. It's not going to take away anything he's ever done. The guy was he was great for the sport, and again, he showed, all of the things that just the names of the people he's fought is unbelievable. The fact that he fought Machida at 185, is phenomenal. So look, the other thing, just to answer, I know I'm going to jump back. I think whoever, that was the worst matchup they could have given him. A young, fast kid who you don't know where the stuff's coming. I mean, BJ still has the power, believe it or not. He still probably hits hard, but I would have given him somebody different. The fact of, I don't know, that was definitely not a good matchup. If you're asking me, are there guys at 145 you could beat? Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's still a couple of guys. But, again, it comes down to what's the point.
Right.
That's where I get a little crazy. I mean, he's a great guy. It's tough to know when to hang it up. But, again, he's not strapped, I don't believe, for money. And he's done so many great things in the UFC, and he's got absolutely nothing to prove. It's just diminishing returns at this point. There's nothing good that can come of it.
I think the issue, Ray, is just that he wants to fight. I mean, and I think you bring up an important point that I don't think it's about wins or losses, and maybe I'd go back on something I said earlier in the show. I don't think he necessarily wants to go out with a win. I don't think he's won a fight since 2010 against Matt Hughes. I don't think that's the priority. I think he loves the adoration from the fans. I think to a lesser extent he loves the preparation, but he loves making that walk on fight night. And I think we're going to see him fight again unless the promotion tells him they don't want to see him do that.
Well, it's funny because, if you listen to all these athletic commissions, they're there to level the playing field. They're there to do this. They're there to keep it safe. I don't know what, that was a really bad matchup. I mean, the guy, what was he, minus 500, 400?
Right.
I mean, that's telling you something right there. They weren't really giving him a chance to win the fight. And, there was a point I even thought John McCarthy should have stopped it maybe 10 seconds before that, 8 seconds. But, again, look at BJ, mad about the stoppage. I mean, it's a really tough thing. I believe me, I've seen it. I can't stop guys from sparring that I think shouldn't even just, try to enjoy, the martial arts or, take up. I mean, I think jiu-jitsu's perfect for that, where you're not going to get your brains beat in. But
right.
The guys that really love to fight really struggle with it because, it's definitely not about winning or losing. He was in a scrap yesterday that, he got some sort of a rush from. And it's going to be challenging. He really needs, strong people around him to really make a good case for, there's nothing left to prove. You've had fight of the night bonuses. You've been a champion. You've fought at this weight. You fought at that weight. You've fought the best of the best. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, Kenny, how many years ago was it that you fought him?
I think we fought, 2008? 2009? There you go. Yeah.
I mean, you don't find that fascinating?
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to say this about Kenny. I think Kenny's an intelligent dude, and he made the right choice. You could have still won fights. There's no question in my mind. And you did the right thing. You went out at a time when, you moved on to something else, and you're great at what you do now. And, and I think BJ, maybe that's what he needs. He needs another avenue to maybe stay attached to the sport or start training people or, form his own fight team and do something where he feels, he's still, making that walk, but it's a little different. You know what I mean? But, I mean, Kenny, you would even know more because, again, I believe you made the right decision. I mean, you felt like it was time to get out, but you fought this guy who I'm sure you looked up to at the time when you fought him, and that was 7 years ago, whenever. It's crazy. It's crazy how long ago that was.
Yeah.
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 And it's so he needs good people around him, and they really got to talk to him. To me, there's absolutely look. We're in a weird spot because I'm sure the promotion makes money off him, and that's what he's got to realize.
Yeah,
is that those guys really.
Yeah, I know there's something to be said for that. Certainly, they can headline him still and do a good rating, but I'm not sure that they want to see him fight again.